And we are starting with breaking news out of the Justice Department, which has officially launched a criminal investigation into Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. Now, the DOJ is alleging the two Democratic leaders are obstructing federal law enforcement from doing their job in the state. This coming from a senior law enforcement official and a person familiar with the matter. Now, more on that and the investigations of the details of this investigation in just a minute. And I want to go right to NBC's senior justice reporter Ryan Reilly for more on this breaking news. Ryan, so we're hearing about this criminal investigation into Governor Walz now and the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, from the feds. What exactly is the DOJ looking for here?
Yeah, so I mean, it actually really all revolves around speech. It's about the idea that they conspired to impede federal law enforcement officers. The actual statute that there is at issue here is a rarely used one that actually, ironically, is most recently used against member of the Proud Boys when they stormed the U.S. Capitol and then were later were given clemency by Donald Trump, but it has not been that often used, and it actually dates back, the language in it dates back to the Civil War era. So we're talking about a very old piece of legislation that they're using as a way to go after individuals in this instance. Actually, last month we saw that Attorney General Pam Bondi issued this memo on domestic terrorism, and this was one of the statutes that they cited as a way to go after organizations. It's sort of a broader part of the administration's efforts to go after the president's enemies, sort of left-leaning groups, and investigate a lot of the ties because there's allegations or there's a belief in the right wing that there are additional funds that are being sent out across the country, that all of this is sort of more organized. But that hasn't been borne out by any investigations, including during the first Trump administration, when they really did try to go after the finances that were behind this and just had no success.
And Ryan, we're just getting some statements here. And again, all this stuff is coming in. So I'm just going to read this. But we have one from the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey. Then we've got another one from Governor Tim Walz. So just paraphrasing a little bit, they're pushing back, obviously, on all of this. But Mayor Jacob Frey says that this is an obvious attempt to intimidate me for standing up for Minneapolis, our local law enforcement, and our residents against the chaos and danger this administration has brought to our streets. I will not be intimidated. My focus will remain where it's always been, keeping our city safe. Then Governor Tim Walz is saying 2 days ago it was Alyssa Slotkin. Last week it was Jerome Powell. Before that, Mark Kelly. Weaponizing the justice system and threatening political opponents is a dangerous authoritarian tactic. Then he says the only person not being investigated for the shooting of Renee Good is the federal agent who shot her. Ryan, is that true? As I understand it, the FBI is still investigating that shooting. A little bit confusing on whether or not there are any civil rights charges or a civil rights investigation. It doesn't seem like that is the case. But is that officer being investigated?
That is not our understanding. Essentially, the only way for there to be a federal investigation into the officer here would be for it to go through the Civil Rights Division, and they have said, full stop, that they're not doing that investigation. What is, according to sources and has been reported, is that they're looking, potentially over the victim in this case is what they're analyzing her actions. But the investigation, I should say, into this is not something that we normally see under longstanding Justice Department precedent. Normally, there would be several layers that would have to go through in order to have any sort of public action to investigate a sitting mayor as well as a sitting governor of a state. There's normally the public integrity section would look at that, but that's been completely decimated during the course of the Trump administration. So some of those safeguards and protections to prevent the politicization of the Justice Department have been wiped out. And now we have what seems to be an active investigation into two of the president's rivals, which, is something that the president has made clear he wants to see. We've seen in the past that he has targeted individuals he once prosecuted. In fact, there was a message that, as NBC reported, was supposed to be private message sent to Pam Bondi laying out individuals that he wanted charged. So he's made no secret of what he wants the Justice Department to be doing.
And carrying this a little bit further, and again, this is just all we know right now is that there is an investigation. But if they are charged, could we see arrests of a sitting mayor and the sitting governor?
Yeah, I mean, the statute that Yes, if someone was criminally charged, they would either be arrested or they would have to surrender in some way. Of course, that's getting a little bit down the line here. This is early stages of the investigation, and that's there's several steps that would have to take place before that. But because of those lack of safeguards that have been decimated within DOJ, this is the situation that we're in. Normally, before you would get to opening up any investigation, there would be those guards in place to consider First Amendment considerations, whether this was a politicized investigation, to sort of make sure that the Justice Department's powers weren't being abused in any way. And those safeguards from the public integrity section are just no longer in existence.
Uncharted territory. Ryan Reilly, thank you so much for your reporting.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.